Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indieheads podcast. I'm your host, Matty, a.k.a. Recon G. On this week's podcast, we have...
AJ.
And Will.
Hey, guys. So, again, we're recording this, 2 days after our last podcast, which we don't really do that often. We usually, we let a week cool off. It's okay, one every week is fine, but, we got
too many good tunes.
This is in a normal week.
This is a normal week. We had a strike when the iron's hot, and we're going to talk about a little bit later the new Car Seat Headrest album, Teens in Denial.
This literally isn't a normal month, to be perfectly honest. It would be impossible to set up a how could we we're still going to miss so much shit from this month. This month is hot.
Hot.
That's true. We almost
did you just rub your hands together?
Birdman.
I did just literally rub my hands
together. Did someone do the Birdman hand rub? I fucking heard that.
Oh god.
Yeah.
and Will here, we almost did not do a James Blake and Death Grips podcast because Will was like, "Man, we should save it for a catch up," and I'm like, "Boy, we've been wanting to do that podcast for a week."
Okay, translation. Maddie's been wanting to do that podcast.
Hey, you know what? That episode was really good. It was one of our best episodes anyway. So
I'm proud.
Will.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Matty.
Thank you, Will.
For
I
having
love you. Okay, let's see. Well, we can talk about news. We can talk about what we listen to. Is there anything? Let's see. Is there anything interesting happening in the podcast? No, there's not. Copyright strike shit. We haven't heard back.
Fuckers in school telling me always
Chief Keef about this. Chief Keef about that. My boy PD on fucking Lamron and them. BD equals black dispute. Lamron equals normal backwards. What the fuck? Okay, AJ. So originally on our schedule, we had everything laid out just fine. And
this
AJ,
one wasn't me.
It was this. Who was it? Was it Will? Was it AJ?
I actually did not do that, so I have no idea who did this. But
whose
man is this?
Whoever did, they changed their entire schedule to the Chief Keef Love Sosa copy pasta, and I'm gonna read it for everyone right now. Okay. All right.
I'm listening to it. I've never heard this. I've heard Sosa, but I've never heard this intro performed before.
I think it's the one on the album, not the one that ended up on YouTube. Okay. Fuckers in school telling me, always in the barbershop. Chief Keef ain't about this. Chief Keef ain't about that. My boy a BD on fucking Lamron and them, and he say that redacted don't be putting in no work. Shut the fuck up. Y'all redacteds don't know shit. All you motherfuckers talk about Chief Keef ain't no hitter. Chief Keef ain't this. Chief Keef a fake. Shut the fuck up. You don't live with that redacted. Y'all know that redacted got caught with a ratchet, shooting at the police and shit. Redacted been on probation since fucking, I don't know. Motherfuckers stop playing with them like that. Them redacted savages out there. If I catch another motherfucker talking sweet about Chief Keef, I'm fucking beating their ass. I'm not fucking playing no more. You know these redacteds roll with Lil Reese in them. Young Chop on the beat. Okay, that is me reading the Chief Keef copy pasta. I want one of our listeners to please separate that audio and then put it on Love Sosa. Please.
That's really all that happened in the news world of music this week.
It's a bunch of menial stuff that doesn't you literally there's no discussion the lead singer
RZA and Paul Banks are doing a collaboration.
I put in all of the notes. Who cares?
Yeah, there's a little. I mean, I can. Okay, Robin Pecknell did an AMA, and it was actually pretty cool. But I'm not a fan of Fleet. I don't listen to Fleet Foxes.
I'm the only Foxes fan here. That's blasphemy that Indieheads podcast only has one fan on right now.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
Fleet Foxes. The damn Fleet Foxes.
Yeah, Fleet Foxes.
Fleet Foxes.
I fucking love how he had a Pantano flare yesterday.
He's
hilarious.
Let's see.
Did he really?
Now he has a Sub Pop flare for some reason.
Yeah, he changed his Sub Pop because he's signed to Sub Pop.
What a shitbag.
Yeah.
He's really not doing anything to convince me to be a Fleet Foxes fan.
Well, okay, here's the thing. If you haven't already heard the music and thought this is the most beautiful music I've ever heard in my life.
Here's my thoughts on Fleet Foxes. It sounds like a bunch of just Urban Outfitters indie fucks trying to do Americana folk music. And if I want to listen to Americana folk music, I'll just go listen to some actual shit, not this pretentious Urban Outfitters trite.
Yikes.
See, I'm not even gonna respond to that.
You don't have to. I already said I don't think Frank Ocean's Channel Orange is a classic. What can I say on this podcast to look me in hotter water than that?
What you just said.
Ooh.
That's worse than... I mean, just because I'm not a Frank Ocean fan in the first place. So
we already talked about this on the fucking late night podcast. Okay, Channel Orange. Okay, you guys don't think it's a classic? Cool, whatever. Guess what? It's a lot of people's personal classics, and that kind of.
And you're the only person who thinks that Frank Ocean is a classic. So I mean, like, we got some weird opinions on here tonight. But
I know. Okay.
We smoking penises.
We smoke a piece.
We got one.
We coming at you with them dicks, boy. You come at me.
We got one opinion though. That's about.
You come at me saying Currents is a good album.
No, it's about what we've been listening to.
Yeah, we're not we have to pad out the podcast. Well, okay, this is a little inside info on the podcast for y'all who don't know about these podcasts. You gotta pad out your stuff. You can't just go straight to the main topic. You gotta build up to it. You can't just
Will's trying to bust early like 911 in white neighborhoods.
Oh my god. AJ, no.
I also just extremely ruined that because, like I said, bust.
I hate you, AJ. I fucking hate you.
I
have to room with this guy in like 2 months at Pitchfork. All right,
I
gotta deal with this guy in real life. People.
There will be no escape. You can't just like mute me or get off the internet. Like I'll just be there for like.
If you take up smoking, you can take a smoke break.
Yeah, 96. Was that fucking? That was a shoehorned reference. If that's what that was.
Oh God. Okay. Anyways, what did I listen to this week? I already talked about what I listened to this week on the last podcast, so I'm going to talk about a playlist I made instead, because that's the main thing I've been listening to, is a playlist I made. Scott...
You snake, you tricked us.
Here's the thing, I listened to two by Max and Marco.
You bamboozled us.
This was not pre-approved.
Well,
I don't like these audibles, Matty.
I'm sorry. The thing is, hey, I got bags of tricks in my sleeves, and y'all don't have shit. You know who else doesn't have shit? A man who's constipated. Anyways, this playlist is called "This Playlist Wasn't For You." I made it for my friend, and then I realized, it wasn't actually for this friend. It was for my. I'm not going to say who this person is.
Redacted.
This is for someone who's redacted, and I'm like, cool. And there's a bunch of cool artists in here. You got your Weezer. Do you want to get high? You got your Japanese breakfast. AJ.
Go.
Circle jerk. Okay, 30 seconds to circle jerk about Japanese breakfast now.
Okay, here's the thing. Japanese breakfast Psycho Pump. The album's 28 minutes long, and my commute to work right now currently from door to door is exactly one listen of Psycho Pump, which is just a fantastic fucking album. And in 28 minutes, you get this intense range of emotions from just like extremely joyfully happy to just like super, super melancholy
15.
and depressed. It's got really great guitar work, really, really, really great pop riffs, and it's just like a glittery, shimmering, just like lovely album. Her vocals are like not the greatest, but that's not what matters. And also, if you haven't seen the video for In Heaven where she's karaoke singing in a Korean bar, it's the fucking cutest thing you'll ever see in your entire life, and you'll fall in love with an Asian woman instantly. Psycho Pump by Japanese Breakfast, album of the fucking year 2016.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you, AJ. Now back to the regularly scheduled programming. You got Porches, you got Frankie Cosmos, you got Sales, Parquet Courts, Sufjan Stevens, you got Car Seat Headrest, who we're going to talk about a little later. I actually want to talk about the Car Seat Headrest song I put on here because it's the song here I've been listening to like on repeat. It's I want you to know that I'm awake. I hope you're asleep, because fuck, guys, that song, it's fucking boy. Okay, this song, it's. I need to listen. I need to go back through his back catalog a little bit, Will, because he does. I mean, besides like Twin Fantasy and Teens of Style, because he seems like he has a bunch of great stuff. It's just it's just not. Like
I think
a lot of it.
I like How to Leave Town more than Twin Fantasy. Hot take, but like that's my favorite. Well, it was my favorite Car Seat Headrest album.
Of course, this one came out. Okay, but there's some great fucking lyrics in here, and it's fucking brutal. Likewise, Will just fucking kills like him on this album. It's just, on this song. It's just like again the opening lines. I'm not allowed to have feelings. Feelings would complicate this. I'm a stupid, ugly, stuttering asshole, and there's no dignity in my anger. And it's like, oh my god, Will. Shit, we're in for something. And of course, like the end of the refrain
Fuck
where
my
it's
shit up, Daisu.
Oh god. and then the refrain where it's like, Mikhail and Brian broke up today, but we're not like them. No, nothing like them. That refrain is just like, oh god. It just like I just been listening to it like the past week and just being really, really sad about it.
Toledo has a really good. This is just something I sort of like literally just realized now. He has a really good knack for like catchy, repetitive refrains that like is kind of not as common in these days. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like really anthemic refrain, like chant anthemic refrains. It's weird, but it's a very unique style of his music.
Because I think, I mean, again, I think with the new album, which we'll talk about a bit later, he said like he kind of designed like these songs to be played live a little bit, and it's like, and these songs again, especially the song is like, I think he said he doesn't like playing the song live. He says it sounds good live, but he kind of has a hard time sometimes playing live because it's a very personal song. Like really, he beats himself up a lot on the song, and it's like, oh god. But like apparently it sounds good. It's like, I don't know. The song is amazing. Go listen to it. My playlist just wasn't made for you. Go find my Spotify. You know, Matt. Shit. I'll say my last name, Matt Monroe. Go look me up. It's on there. It's also on Apple Music too.
Real personal hours up in here.
Real personal hours. Hit that motherfucking like button if you don't care about giving your personal information out on the internet and you don't care about your parents anymore.
Boy, I'll give my social security. I don't give a fuck.
So yeah, that's all I can really say. AJ and Will, you guys actually listen to albums, so you go on ahead.
Who you want to go first? I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll just be really quick. I listened to Pipers at the Gates of Dawn by Pink Floyd last night because I have admittedly not paid enough attention to their earlier stuff. I fucking love Uma Guma and like Adam Motherheart and Metal, but I'd only listened to like Piper at the Gates of Dawn once, and so I thought it deserved another focused listen. And what really surprised me about it this most recent time through is how very, very 60s rock it sounds and how influenced by all of the other stuff that was happening at the same time it sounds. Because when you think of Pink Floyd, you usually think of like, oh, they were ahead of the times and like they were innovators of rock music. But Piper at the Gates of Dawn has moments definitely where it transcends that. But for Pink Floyd's debut album, it's definitely not as weird as you would expect it to be.
See, I don't agree with you at all there. I think it's probably their weirdest album.
Absolutely not.
Okay, it's not the weirdest because they did Adam Hart Mother.
Uma Guma, I would say, is their weirdest album.
I mean, I actually haven't listened to that one, but
Uma Guma is like borderline esoteric. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, I mean,
but,
fight. They're pretty Dark Moon stuff. It's all very experimental and kind of bizarre. But yeah, I think Piper is one of their strangest albums. I mean, it's their only one really with Syd Barrett.
Yeah.
And just this album alone has got him a huge cult following, and the fact that he's mentioned, especially so much on Dark Side and Wish You Were Here, pretty much all about Syd.
The thing that stands out the most on Piper at the Gates of Dawn to me, though, is absolutely the guitar work. The guitar work on here is like super
amazing.
Interesting. It's like some of the most incredible guitar work. There are tracks that are like, I think there are a couple, maybe 2 or 3 that are just pretty much devoted to just like guitar riffs that sound almost like out of a fucking James Bond movie or something.
Doesn't Syd Barrett play guitar on here too?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, because David Gilmour wasn't in the band yet.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, no, and that's also something else that's interesting about it. Though I guess we'll switch to Matty's chord a little bit. Is that this album sampled a lot on Ex-Military?
Ooh, yes.
Have you listened to this album, Matty?
No, I've not actually. I've barely gotten to like any Pink Floyd, which is like I have a ton of musical like blind spots.
That's a big gap.
And Pink Floyd is like one of them. Thing is, my dad's a Grateful Dead guy. Like he hasn't really like I haven't gotten like super into Grateful Dead, but my dad's like a huge fan of Grateful Dead, or was a huge fan. He doesn't really like. It's weird. Like my dad, like we don't really talk about music that often, and like I should actually show my dad like that Day of the Dead like compilation album that like the National just like put together.
Yeah, I definitely mean to check that out soon.
I might get,
but I'm like intimidated. I'm intimidated by it because I really don't like the Grateful Dead at all.
So yeah,
it's so fucking huge.
I might get a copy. I might get a copy and like give it to my dad for like Father's Day or something. You know, I'll get him a CD.
Yeah,
that's a solid option.
So yeah,
he'll probably be like, what is all this? What's all this indie shit?
No, actually,
these fucking hipsters wailing on about.
Like months ago, my dad actually said like, hey, like he was really interested. Like, hey, can you like. You know, like he actually wanted to get into some modern music a little bit. Like I made him a playlist, and I'm not sure. I think he listened to it like once, but didn't really say much to me about it. So, hey, I'll get him the CD, and hopefully, you know, maybe he'll want to get into some more modern music. And actually, instead of me having to like force him to go to concerts, sometimes it's like, hey, do you want to come to this concert with me? Of course, I would love to, son. Why won't you play catch with me, Dad?
Interstellar Overdrive, like.
Speaking of dads, let's talk about Pink Floyd again.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, Interstellar Overdrive, like that entire riff. That's the entire riff of I Want It, I Need It. It's basically that entire song. And I know another song is pretty heavily sampled in here. But that's actually the interesting thing about ex-military is that almost all the samples are from artist debuts. Not all of them, but I think it's like most samples of them, from debuts.
Which by the way is incredible and shows that Death Grips are like some of the best producers out right now. By the way, guys, like for real.
Hold up.
Zach Hill and Eddie Moore, they're geniuses. All right, did you not listen to Redacted on the Moon? They're geniuses. Okay.
Literally perfect band.
I mean, they released Bottomless Pit though, so that Spotless record has now got some spots on it. So it's got a little dirt.
Hey, but anyways, yeah, the point is that this is their most psychedelic. I do hear that there is some more influence from other artists at the time on here, but still, it's very, very psychedelic.
I just mean it's very strange that like this does not sound really like a Pink Floyd album. I think that much.
I can agree with that.
Like when you think of Pink Floyd, and then like for someone who is like looking to get into Pink Floyd, usually a natural place to start with an artist is their beginning of their discography.
Well, Dark Side or The Wall are the natural places.
Well, we're not having a discussion about like Pink Floyd's discography at large. I really just want to focus on like this album because I just think it's a very notable kind of. I think like it's one of the sort of strangest distinctions in their discography, in that they hadn't, I don't think, exactly found the Pink Floyd sound yet on this album, which is completely fine. But it's interesting that we still have this album because like.
Well, also they didn't have David Gilmour yet, and they had Syd Barrett.
Wait, hey, you guys know?
That was their biggest.
You guys know who else got sampled, or who else sampled Pink Floyd besides Death Grips?
Who's that?
My boy Dean Blunt. He sampled their song on The Redeemer. I think he sampled like shit.
Well, congratulations on sampling one of the most famous rock artists of all time. Like, congratulations.
Where did Dean Blunt hear about Pink Floyd, man?
I don't
like. Damn, he's so fucking hipster.
Hey, how about, dude? Shut up! I was just trying to, man. I'm trying to relate to this conversation, guys, and y'all are making.
Okay, we can wrap. Okay, we can wrap it. Do you have anything else to say?
Man, I have to have my mandatory Dean Blunt show on like every episode. All right.
Okay, you did it. Let's. Okay.
And he sampled Echoes, and it's a great sample. Okay.
I'm glad he got it in there. Yeah. He sampled fucking Echoes.
Yeah, he did. Go
Why?
Listen. Why? Because it sounded great, so I mean, whatever.
Okay, sure.
You can go listen to it after this podcast, and you can go, oh, wow, that's a great sample, and Dean Blunt is a complete genius, and he's one of the best artists in modern music today, because he's a fucking incredible producer.
What's the name of the song he sampled it on?
Poppy. It's on The Redeemer.
Okay.
Which is the best album of all time. Best of all time. Okay.
Top check.
All right, well, you talk about what you listened to this week.
Okay, I've been listening to Currents by Tame Impala.
Fuck you, AJ. Fuck you. I'm gonna slice your throat at pitchfork. I'm gonna tear your Achilles tendon. All right.
Hold on, actually.
If AJ doesn't acknowledge me over Twitter and work on a podcast with me,
if AJ Moses does not acknowledge me on the Indieheads podcast, I will literally fuck him in the ass.
That's one of the greatest tweets of all time.
Shouts out to Little B. This is a Task Force Band Boy Party
approved.
podcast. All right. You actually though.
Rap memes.
Well, please actually talk about what you listened to this week.
Okay, the album that I actually listened to this week.
He did it.
Boy, he done did it. I listened to Holy Ghost by Modern Baseball, and they're a band that I've been kind of meaning to get into, but I just haven't really got into that like lo-fi pop punk.
How would you describe their music if you had to use one word?
Do apostrophes or the hyphens count?
Nope, just one 3-letter word that starts with an E.
Ego.
Jesus Christ.
No, they're like it's emo pop punk.
Yeah, I've heard pop punk, but actually good is what people describe as modern baseball.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, the thing is that's what's kind of alarming about it is like I've yet to get into the pop punk. Lo-fi, it's kind of lo-fi pop punk sound too. Side of emo, like them and Joyce Manor, haven't really connected with me before this.
Yeah.
So I came into this album without a lot of context or expectations, and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I literally I'm very excited about this album, and I literally just haven't listened to it just because there's been so much exciting stuff lately.
Right.
And like it's in my backlist playlist, and I'm going to get to it probably very soon because I think
I totally understand because you're right. There is so much shit right now.
Yeah, they're in town like in 2 or 3 weeks, and so I'm definitely going to get on this album. But I'll
be out of town.
I love all their other stuff, and I've heard really good things about this album, so I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it, and that's probably part of the reason why I've just sort of not got into it yet, because I'm like, well, there's an album I know I'll like,
Yeah, that kind of. I mean, that doesn't make sense, but that does make sense. But anyways, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Maybe just because I've paid attention, like made an effort to like it, but it's an album that has a lot of context, like because one of their they have 2 vocalists, but one of them, Lukens, went to rehab for depression, alcoholism, marijuana addiction, and stuff like that. And they formed in college, but this is their first album post graduation. They also made this documentary about the making of the album, but like I said, I wasn't really a fan before, so I didn't really have all that context going in. I just had the music, man, and I like the music. Wedding Singer is a bop. It's one of the best songs. It's a bop. Damn, this is a banger. Who produced this? Anyways, that's a great song.
On the beat. I'm bringing you the Sad Boy tunes. It's Sad Boy Season 2016. What's up?
Yeah, like May 2016 should literally just be renamed Sad Boy Season. You're getting an incredible amount of like emo, at least influenced albums. We got a Moonshaped Pool. We got The Color and Anything. Like it's literally Sad Boy Season.
And we got the saddest album of the year, Coloring Book.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Well, that
literally the emo.
I think that's actually gonna be our next episode though.
That's the most emo extremo.
I don't want to be on that fucking episode.
Why? Because Jeremiah's gonna run down your throat. Like, why don't you like this album, AJ? You have to like this.
You're not allowed to have a different opinion. You're not allowed to have a negative opinion about something I like.
You have to. You
dislike the album. You're just not allowed to talk about it.
You have to like this album, AJ, because he's happy. Okay.
But if I dislike the album, it's okay for me to talk about it.
Okay, we're getting a little too personal. We're getting a little too petty on this podcast.
Yeah, now we're just like.
All right, we should.
Jeremiah won't listen.
Okay.
Anyways, the point is that this album is good.
And
good songs.
Jeremiah, we love you. We love you so much.
It has the good songs. It has all the good lyrics. It's just kind of it's kind of sad boy, but it's also like really uplifting. Like the last song, just about how it just feels like a weight. But then like the last lines are, even if you can't see it now, we're proud of what's to come in you. And that's as uplifting to me as anything on Chance 3. Okay, honestly.
Will, do you think I would like this album though? Do you think I would like this album?
Maybe. Probably not. Probably not.
That's what
I thought. I don't see. I would say maybe.
I think.
Yeah, no.
Because I know we played. Because at my college station, I think we played some of the stuff in one of our music meetings, and I was like, oh, I'm not like digging this at all. Because I would hope it's like. Yeah, no. I hope I would like it because it's like modern baseball are kind of different from the stuff we play. It's like I want to like this.
They're indie.
A good way to describe modern baseball is like the front bottoms, but good.
Actually, I actually do like some like I like Your Graduation a lot. I think it's like a really good song. But I think also the music video kind of plays in that too, because the music video is like great for it. And then what was I think it's like, give me a second, I can find it. But there's another song that I also had like a music video that I think like Pitchfork premiered that's also like really good. It's like, Are You Here? Are You Freaking Out? Which again I will look it up very quickly. I think it's this is very unprofessional. I'm very sorry, guys. I know it's from You're Gonna Miss It All. Oh, I know it's You're Gonna Miss It All. I know that. Whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever even listened to that out. I've only listened to Sports and Toy Ghost.
I think it's Rock Bottom is the song that I also really like. So yeah.
No. In that case, I'd say definitely check this out. We were talking about GOAT albums under 30 minutes. I'm not. I wouldn't call this GOAT, but it's definitely my favorite under 30-minute album of the year. No contest in that category. So it's going to be in the.
Oh really?
So definitely, this is going to get some play in the whip this summer.
I'll probably listen to it. If it's under 30 minutes, I'll definitely listen to it then, because
Is it a bang? Does it slap?
Some of these songs are, like I said,
does it bump in the whip, Will? Okay, does it bump in the whip?
You gotta confirm that.
You gotta.
I think the whip. I think it has some. Then like some of the songs are just kind of like good sound. Like Hiding is another one of my favorites on here. That reminds me of You Can't Live There Forever.
Whoo! That's a lofty comparison, brother.
And I think they earn it.
All right, brother.
Brother.
All right,
It's not. My wife asked me what day of the week it is. I said Wednesday, brother.
No, my wife asked if it was Friday, and I said no. It's chest and back day, brother.
Have you guys seen that tweet? It was like someone photoshopped like
I have that feeling about tomorrow, brother.
Can I text you?
What?
Can I text you? That's a Hulk Hogan tweet.
Oh yeah.
Also,
I was talking about the one this week. What? Go ahead.
There was one this week. Someone photoshopped a Hulk Hogan tweet. It was like, I got a bad feeling about tomorrow, brothers, and it was like September 10th, 2011.
Yeah.
2001. I don't know why it was so.
Then there's been a lot of copies, and they're not as funny, but that one was good.
One of my favorite things on the internet is like retweeting really popular artists now's tweets from like 2010, where they're just saying the most like absurd, just like really offensive shit.
Oh, there's a big deal.
Kevin Durant, he's the king of that.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, there's and then Meek Mill has a couple like choke. Meek Mill. I was choking her and she told me to choke her, but she kept saying "choke me harder." What the f? I was spooked. She was like, "Choke me." In my head, I was like, "Damn, I'm on probation. I can't afford this." Shaking my head.
Oh my god.
Of course, you can't talk about old Twitter from like popular artists, and you have to talk about ASAP Yams. I mean,
R.I.P.
He's like, right. Oh shit, I got in trouble at rehab because a bitch was about to commit suicide. I said, oh shit, it's fucking lit.
Oh god, if you see me in person and I don't say much, understand I'm very bashful. You have to get to know me to truly see my swag blossom. I'm not joking. That is my Tinder bio right now. Is that tweet? Of course, love my goth bitch. She called me up before bedtime, tell me spooky stories. Very depressed, writing in lowercase until I find happiness again, bruh. Can't try. Literally, this podcast is just going to be us reading ASAP Yams tweets. Right now.
Literally, all it has been so far is like rap social media memes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on a sec. We can't talk about old artists' Twitters without bringing up Young Thugs, no homo, we smoking penises.
We booing.
No, hold on, no, you're forgetting about damn, you sexy cuz. Have you seen that tweet, AJ?
Yeah.
Oh god. Literally, it's like Young Thug has said so many times, I'm not gay, and it's like you have that shit. It's like, but like Young Thug has tried to say, and everybody's like, no, he means sexy is like, oh, like you're cool. And it's like,
okay,
cool, yeah, sure, Young Thug, sure, but Young Thug's a weird ass dude. Like, have you seen that like GQ profile of him?
Well, just have you seen his face?
Yeah. Do you have to tell me Young Thug is a weird dude?
Just look at his face and like look at his Instagram captions. Like
literally, here's the thing. Like, okay, I'm just gonna read the first part of this, like his GQ profile real quick. His real name is Jeff. He is 24 years old, and 6 feet 3 inches tall, but has the tiniest little feet, size 8.5, like someone who had bound them when he was a child. A 26-inch waist. He eats almost nothing. Says he does not like to eat and goes for days without food. On the 3rd of every month, a doctor shows up at his mansion near Buckhead and injects him with vitamins. All the greens, he says, to keep me healthy. His toenails are immaculately manicured and painted in iridescent. I don't know what that word is. They look like tiny soap bubble. He wears.
Hey, Matty, do we really need to do this?
Okay, I'm gonna stop. But like, you can
our main topic is.
Okay, let's talk about Young Thug is underrated. Well, no, that was originally gonna be our main topic, but then we were like, nah. All right,
yeah.
So
like meme wrapped.
All right,
cream done.
All right, so we're gonna talk about this week. Teens in Denial, Car Seat Headrest. Who is Car Seat Headrest? The next funeral. All right, my boy Will Toledo. He dropped a classic on us. All right, this is a classic on us.
God damn it, man. Okay, let's start.
Let's actually get serious though. We'll get serious though. Okay, so Will Toledo, Car Seat Headrest. So Car Seat Headrest is the singer-songwriter project of Will Toledo. He started off by himself in like 2010. Released 11 albums on Bandcamp. Some more notable ones including How to Leave Town, Twin Fancy, Monomania, My Back Is Killing Me, Baby. And there's probably another one I'm missing. But anyways, Twin Fancy is usually like his most known
Nervous
project.
Nervous Young Man.
But usually, when people talk about, before like Teens of Denial, whenever people talked about Car Seat Headrest, it was usually about Twin Fantasy. Or his Matador Records debut, which again, he signed to Matador Records in 2015, released Teens of Style, which was kind of a compilation album of sorts, where he re-recorded and reworked a couple of his old tracks into a more professional setting, and then of course released them on Matador, and Teens of Denial is his more like official debut. It's his debut of like it's his first original material in like since like 2014, since like How to Leave Town. So all of us at the podcast have been pretty excited about this project. We've been kind of hyping it up for a while now. We started a couple memes for it too. AJ, you want to talk about the how the next funeral meme got started?
Yeah, so here's the deal. I'll walk you through a little timeline of getting excited for this album. I think Vincent, the lead single, came... Like, we knew this album was coming because when he signed to Matador, he said, I've got 2 albums that are sort of companions. Teens of Style is going to be a compilation of older stuff. Teens of Denial is going to be a lot of new material I've been working super hard on. So we knew it was coming this year. And I listened to Teens of Style last year, and it was like literally just what it was. You know, old stuff, cool stuff, reworked stuff, whatever. I was very excited for Teens of Denial.
It sounded significantly better, though. I mean,
it definitely sounded significantly better.
I mean, things like you listen to, like I've tried to listen to My Back Is Killing Me, Baby. It just sounds so fucking awful. Like things like the songwriting was there.
Well, he moved away from the lo-fi sound that sort of established him. Like Twin Fantasy, I think, is his sort of classic. That's what people look at as like, oh, the Car Seat Headrest album, Twin Fantasy, like, holy shit, this is a lo-fi masterpiece. But he's moved away from that now towards pretty much a standard indie rock sound. And
right, because now he's officially in a studio with a real life Steve Fisk, a real life actual producer.
You can clearly tell. Yeah, you can clearly tell.
And he has a band now consisting of
Andrew Katz, who's the drummer.
Andrew Katz on drums and Ethan Ives on bass.
And the band is very good. They sound great. Andrew Katz is a like some of his drumming on here is incredible, which again we'll get into a bit. But we're all decided, and of course the next funeral meme. So AJ and Jeremiah, they were talking in the chat one day. And AJ, you know this better than I do about how the meme got started.
Vincent came out in January, and we were all out of our goddamn minds excited. And then, we were like, this album comes out in May. We have to wait till May. Like, I'm fucking excited out of my mind for this album. Then we got Drunk Driver's Killer Whales, and I was like, if this album is anywhere near as good as like the singles, like it's going to be the most exciting indie rock album released probably since Funeral, which just spiraled out of control and is just burnt like wildfire to just become like.
Well, I like kind of like I didn't explicitly say it on Reddit, but like I kind of like set up, I kind of like through the slow pitch, put it on T, and then Jeremiah explicitly said it.
Jeremiah.
And then he just wrote that stupid. It's like Will Toledo. He just wrote one of his like stupid ass Jeremiah comments. It's all like it's like I fucking love Will Toledo so much, but I fucking hate him because he's like almost the same age as me and grew up like 10 miles away from me and is so much more talented than me. So I'm going to fight him.
I fight him.
Yeah.
You're gonna
kick his ass.
Again.
So it's like a really stupid ass comment that like caught on. It's like he's literally.
But it's great though because it's Jeremiah and I love him. But anyways, let's actually get into the content of the album. Teens of Now. So of course, all of us have been very excited for it. Again, leaked in
Start off with the Vincent.
So Vincent,
want to talk about singles first?
Sure. I didn't really get to say much about Vincent. So yeah, that was my first exposure to Car Seat Headrest, and I was because you guys were talking about it in the chat. You're like, you have to listen to this, and I'm like, all right, I'll listen to it. And it's like, holy shit, this is like, I will stand by this. For me, it's still the song of the year. It is fucking incredible. It's the best song I've heard this year, still. And just again, it's incredible. You know that build up. You know that 2-minute build up. You know, it's like
right. It should have. I think that shouldn't have worked, but he made it work so well. Everything about the song is so alarming, and it catches you immediately.
Because
it's so catchy.
Because there's that anticipation. It's like, what's this leading to? What's going to happen? Of course, then there's more.
And then the build off is absolutely worth it.
Oh yeah, and then of course.
After time I want. The thing is also like there's little moments on this, like maybe not even the song itself, but at least moments on the song are just very iconic. Like when he shouts like, does it have half the time? It's like this.
Oh yeah. Now send in Matt. Wait me.
Captain Trap.
Captain. It's like, oh god, and of course, I think one of my favorite parts.
Oh yeah, Trap thing, cast in a bit of. Yeah, like that's like delivery. There's like this, this is an iconic moment.
Will Toledo isn't a super talented vocalist, but he knows how to make like interesting vocal performances, so he's fun to listen to.
Okay, talented. Okay, maybe not. I feel like that's the wrong. Okay, Will Toledo, for what he does, he's a very great vocalist because he's very emotive.
Oh,
he's very emotive.
No, what I meant is like he's not, a classically trained singer or anything like that.
Works,
yeah, that's all I meant.
It's not a traditional, but yeah, no, he has. It sounds like that kid next door, like that kid in the room next to you. You know what I mean? Like he just has a normal sounding singing voice.
Also, I did want to mention there's the horns on Vincent are incredible. It's like din it, and then the little drum fills on there like
din it. Yeah, no. It's like I said, it's just like it's just a great written, well performed song and just well orchestrated, well recorded, just everything about it, you know.
So that drops, and everyone is freaking out, like, oh my god, this is like the best song I've heard this year. Then Drunk Drivers Killer Whales. Now, I know you guys love it to death, but I still like the song a lot. But if I had to like pick like, what are your like least favorite 3 songs on Teens in Denial, I would be like maybe Killer Whales. Maybe.
Boy, lad.
See, I'm not as hot on Vincent. Like I don't think it's. Like I was saying earlier, maybe it was this podcast where it sort of stands alone by itself, sort of as like it's a very self-contained song and like a self-contained piece of music, and it almost could have been sort of like Goodness Part 1 that the Hotelier released, where it was like, here's a song that kind of sounds like our next album, will get you excited for our next album, but maybe it's not on the track list. Like Vincent doesn't need to be on this track list, and so that gets into my biggest problem with the album. But sort of Vincent,
we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, when I listen to this album, I honestly don't, like, I've listened to it a lot in the past week, and I've honestly always started at track 3, just because the first 2 I've heard so many times already.
Right, yeah. I've actually done a similar thing. Like, so I also have a problem with that, but we'll talk about that later, I think.
Yeah, we'll get into our issues. But, of course, Drunk Drivers come out. Great
single.
Yeah,
Killer Whales. Killer Whales, though, like, that's my favorite song of the year. I mean, it's just a perfectly written song. It's just, the lyrics, the melody, the way it's build up, and then it just gets it doesn't have to be like this. It's the sing-along song of 2016.
Oh god, yeah, it is so satisfying where it gets to that point where it's like he really just goes into that vocal performance where it has that bridge where it's like drunk drivers, dude, it doesn't have, it's like that.
It's so good.
Guys, we're putting the Beach Boys to shame right now, man. We're just like, our vocal harmonies are off the chain right now.
It's the wake up of 2016.
It's the All My Friends.
Yeah. Wake Up is a bit more poppy. The thing is, Drunk Drivers, the only issue with Drunk Drivers is that, like, again, which we'll talk about when we get to Fill the Blank.
It comes and goes.
We'll just talk about Fill the Blank.
In plateaus.
The thing is, Fill the Blank.
1 month later, I'm drunk. Okay.
Fill in the Blank is much more direct. It's like, that is... Like, if we're talking like, okay, that is the most, of all the singles, it's the most single-like. It's like, okay, this is immediate, direct. You already know what it is from right from the get-go. Like, okay, this is what this song is. Well, like, Drunk Drivers takes a little bit to build, and of course, Vincent takes a lot to build to where it just goes into craziness. But, like, right away, Fill in the Blank is just it's great, immediate, direct indie rock. And of course, you have no right to be depressed. You haven't tried hard enough to like it.
No, that was the way. It all cuts out. You have no right to be depressed. Then, like the drum fill, you haven't tried hard enough to like, and everyone comes back in.
Yeah, the drum fill,
Andrew Katz. I mean, like he does the damn thing.
Yeah,
he's also
the drumming on this, the drumming on this album is some of the best drumming I've heard in 2016. Some of.
Yeah, some of.
Of course, number 1.
Yeah, I agree. No, like Ethan Ives and Andrew Katz, just like they add to this album a lot. Like not even that, but like the live performances. I haven't seen them live yet, but on YouTube. Like the ending of Dramamine, their live performance of that song is fucking unreal. Like compared to the album version is okay, but like they turned that song into a fucking amazing song live. Like this band, like we're gonna talk about Will a lot because obviously he wrote most of the music and he is Car Seat Headrest. But like this band, they fuck.
Yeah, he has really, again, the chemistry between the band is really, really good on this album. Like they sound so perfect together, and it's weird to think about. He found like Andrew on fucking Craigslist, like, and the other guy. I think it was a friend of Andrew, and that's how he got in the band.
No. I thought he was from. Ethan is from Virginia, like from college.
I know Andrew was found on Craigslist, and I think Ethan, I think they might have just randomly found. I'm not sure. Anyways, but yeah, again, Will, Andrew, Ethan, they all have great chemistry on this album. It's amazing. But let's get into not talking about the singles. Let's get into the actual album itself. Let's get into the meat.
The meat.
Let's get into the deep cuts. So
what's your guys' real, actual favorite song on the album? Just curious.
Drunk Drivers.
I'm gonna say 1937 State Park. That's got to be my favorite.
Mine, I think, is a tie between State Park and Destroyed by Hippie Powers.
But you mean our favorite, like, non-single?
Yeah.
No, I just mean, like, overall favorite song on the album.
Oh, yeah.
It's still Vincent. It's still Vincent, but if I had to pick, like, favorite besides Vincent, it'd be 1937 State Park.
See, my favorite besides Drunk Drivers is Vincent.
Yeah. Oh.
But my favorite non-single, I would say, would either be probably Destroyed by Hippie Powers, but I'm also really loving Cosmic Hero and Connect the Dots.
Unforgiving Girls also, like, I don't think there's a bad song on this album.
There's not.
Mm-hmm.
The closest they come is the new version of Just What I Needed - Not Just What I Needed.
Yeah, you need to find the old version of that song. Like
the new one, I respect what he was trying to do.
I like how the melody from Something Soon kind of pops in at the end there, and like
it's kind of clever the way that he decided to sample himself. Like, if you're not going to let me sample you, I'll just sample myself.
He like. I was listening to it closely, and he's talking about. He's like, "Yeah, I just recorded this shit for like Teens of Denial. The vocals, yada yada." It's very like.
He says that in there.
Yeah, the thing I love about this album is like it's funny. It's genuinely like there's a lot of moments that are genuinely.
Especially Joe gets kicked out of school for using drugs.
Yeah, holy shit.
Like that. Like there's a lot of very self-aware humor in there.
It's like clever, and this album in a lot of ways is not The Next Funeral, but it's a lot like Courtney Barnett's album from last year. And just that it's sort of like an indie darling that's like a clever, fun album. That's sort of where the comparison stopped because they're very different sonically. But like in that way, I think they're very similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of which, Courtney Barnett on Saturday Night Live tonight. Check her out.
Can we talk about that again? Everyone's expecting Will to, Car Seat Headrest to blow up. Like he's already it's already starting because like there's a tons like as soon as the album came out like yesterday, there's already like tons of like pieces online, like interviews and whatnot of him. But I will say though, he definitely will not blow up as much as Courtney Barnett because Courtney Barnett was.
He's not as quirky. He's not as quirky.
He's not as quirky. He's not as marketable. He's kind of an asshole, but like a cool. He's like again, every friend group it needs like at least like one asshole in there just to kind of like round up, keep the lineup like.
I don't know, like it's hard to explain. Like he's an asshole, but he's not. But like the thing is, like he's like can be pretentious sometimes.
But
I feel like it'd be hard not to be.
Well, he's a cool asshole. He's funny. He's very talented. It's like I can't hate the guy. He's an asshole, but like I relate to him a little bit because I'm an asshole too. So
I don't think Will Toledo's ever had sex.
Oh God! I mean, can we? Drake has never had. If Will Toledo has never had sex, then Drake has never had a girlfriend. Oh God! I know we're gonna get a little off topic with that, but I think I shared that piece. Like I think right after we did our views discussion, I found that piece, and it was like, oh
Megan Garvey wrote it.
No, it wasn't Megan Garvey. It was like Lindsay Zoladz, I think. I want to say.
Yes, that's her.
Yeah, that's who wrote it. And it was such a genius piece, and it's like, wait, I don't think he actually has ever had a girlfriend. This makes too much sense. Oh my God.
But like, yeah, I love all of the lines about like borderline alcoholism and just like almost getting laid in this album. It's just like funny and conversational.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Very much so.
Of course, there's a song, Joe gets kicked out of school. I think you guys already talked about it very briefly, Drugs with Friends. Like, there's just so many good moments that, of course, there were people getting drunk, there were people getting high, they were falling to pieces right before my eyes, and I said, a lot. It's like, I relate.
A lot.
It's very relatable to me, this album. It's definitely like, the experiences that Will presents on the album are like, damn, I've kind of had moments like this.
Well, that's because you're a white male.
Oh yeah, I'm a cis. Well, actually, Will isn't. I think Will is low.
Will's very complicated.
Yeah, Will's.
The thing is that, but like he doesn't talk about sexual. But like if you listen to Twin Fantasy, like there's very much many allusions to him being gay.
He's also technically a minority.
What is he?
That was in the Pitchfork review. I don't know, but like the Pitchfork review fucking sucks. That's the point I really wanted to make by bringing that up.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, but also Will is a furry though. He is a legit furry. Like if you go on his Tumblr, like you can see that he likes furry shit. I think he may have talked about it in an interview. I'm not sure, but like Will Toledo is a confirmed furry. But guess what? I don't judge because you know who else is a furry? YMS.
You.
No, I'm not a furry. Fuck off, AJ. Don't accuse me of this bullshit. Don't bring this slanderous libel to this podcast.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
But yeah, Will Toledo is a very complicated person. You could tell on the album where he has a whole sort of issues, but he's able to kind of work out those issues through his music, and in turn, it is great and amazing. And then, yeah, let's see.
That's the main point I want to get to on this album. Is that I think my issue with it is that like the pro and the con is that, like, I guess the pro first is that this is the best songwriting I've heard all year, and I will hear all year. Mm-hmm. I think he's the greatest North American songwriter right now. Do you want to discuss that?
I agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. Essentially,
like he can write a fucking song.
I think again, I think we talked about this a bit earlier. Like I'm just gonna say your point because I agree with it. This album has every song on this album is either good to great, but the sequencing is not. It's a really good collection of great songs, but as an album, it's like, I like listening to this as a whole, but I can put this on shuffle and it'll be all right.
Yeah, so I have two explicit problems with the album. The first being that the singles were pretty much all of the best songs, and then the second being that, the sequencing literally doesn't matter, and I don't need every album to be like a high concept narrative, but I like my albums.
Yeah, there's really no
cohesion. Yeah,
there's no emotional what's called built. There's no emotional payoff. Yeah, emotional payoff from listening to the songs.
Maybe not payoff. There's no emotional shit. I'm trying to remember this word.
And for me, that's it's not a bit it's not a deal breaker by any means, but it's the difference between a great album and a classic for me. Mm-hmm. It's the difference between one of the best albums of the year and one of the best albums of the decade.
Yeah.
That makes it it's still a fantastic album, but this could have actually lived up to the Funeral meme.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is that was the issues of the album is it's God. I still think it's great, but it's so close to being this is going to be a really classic indie rock album that's going to be remembered for years to come.
Could have been it could have been it could have been an easy. It's still essential. I think.
Yeah, I think the thing what we're coming to is that this is a great album, but Car Seat Headrest is going to make a classic album at some point. This is just not his classic. Hell, the next album.
Maybe
his next album could be
different
his classic.
It's hard to explain. Got too out of control.
It did.
And it's not exactly what I wanted, and so that's why I was initially sort of cooled on it, where I was like, oh man, this isn't what I wanted it to be. But
just what I needed. That's not just what I needed.
Fuck off. I appreciate it for what it is now that I've kind of separated myself from that initial hype.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of something. Is I don't listen to this album in order much. I'll just listen to individual songs mostly. And like I said, I'll be literally earlier today, I was I want to listen to Vincent, and I'm ooh, now I want to listen to Connect the Dots.
Yeah, I can start anywhere and then just kind of want to go listen to a different song instead, and I hop around instead of listening to it as an album.
Mm-hmm. But that being said, Fill in the Blank is a fantastic choice as an opener.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely perfect way to open an album.
Also, the little intro, the girls are "You're now listening."
Is that Aubrey Plaza?
No, it's like college radio students, dude. It's they grab.
Sounds like could have been.
No, they. I think some college radio station, I think Will must have heard it and was like, "Hey, can I put this on my album?" They're like, "Oh yeah, sure." And also, as a college radio student, it makes me feel so much better about myself that I sound way better than those girls do, because they sound.
Yeah, they
awesome. It fits the album perfectly, but if I was listening to the radio and that's how they introduced the Car Seat Headrest, I've been like, what the. That was terrible. That was such a terrible that was such a terrible intro. Why would you guys do that? Ew. And it makes me appreciate how much better they am than them on air. But anyways, that's getting a little too selfish, and that's getting a little too ego boosting. But speaking of ego boosting, this album is not very ego boosting. In fact, Will Toledo kind of tears himself apart on a decent amount of the song.
He always does, though. But especially on the song "The Ballad of Costa Concordia." Was that a good segue? Of course,
the Ballad of Costa Concordia.
Yes.
That's a great song.
And Will is famous for his longer songs.
I was looking at the track list. Yeah, ooh, we got a longer than 10-minute song on here. It's fucking lit. And my first listen, I was waiting. I was I'm ready for the Ballad of Costa Concordia to fuck me up. And it's nearly 12 minutes, and it's fucking immense, and it's perfect. It's such a good song, and it's so good that it actually makes me dislike the songs that come after it just because I think it's the emotional piece. It's like, here's a good way I think to describe it. Imagine having something like Alvin Rowe or New York, I Love You, but you're Bringing Me Down, and it's not the last song on your album.
See, that's another place I disagree. That's another place I disagree with you there. Because well, first off, Arcade Fire, they always have their emotional climax with the
penultimate song. But then the final song, like, we don't need to get into this right now, but Arcade Fire albums like all have a pretty specific pattern that they like all sort of follow, and just like
right.
I like Connect the Dots a lot, but it could have just easily been in like
earlier.
It could have been between like tracks 3 and 4 and would have worked just as fine.
Well, the thing is, I love a good balls to the walls closer. And I feel like this is probably like the most fastest and it's like intense songs on the album. You know.
I tweeted today. Go check out my Twitter at Ann Moser. 7 minutes and 38 seconds into this song, when it switches up, it's just like Jesus fuck.
Oh yeah,
yeah, right. No, and also I love when he says like it's an expensive mistake.
It was an expensive mistake.
No, just because like what happened with Matador in the sample. It's like that was an expensive mistake.
Oh god, yeah, we haven't really talked about that yet. How this album has like, it's kind of like the launch of it has been kind of a disaster. Like if we think about it, of course you have
totally
not a total disaster. It's almost been. It's like
kind of. I mean the way that like it leaked, like they accidentally put up for sale for like 10 minutes.
And so they had to
when they first announced the album.
And so they had to send like a bunch of like free vinyl copies to the people so they wouldn't leak the album. And the album leaked like back in early May, and that's, I think, again, full disclosure, that's where most of us heard it at the first time. Because I think everyone here is a horrible citizen of the United States and listens to their music before it's supposed to come out. Like me, because
Will Toledo is a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah, he's a. Hold on, do you want to go? I was gonna say the bio, but we've already kind of exhausted our copy.
Will Toledo is an upstanding young man who has upheld the letter of the law to the fullest extent of his abilities. He passed through his school years and through college without any evidence of criminal wrongdoings being attached to him. He becoming a role model, guiltless beacon of hope to his peer group, members of whom might have otherwise been terribly misled. He has no identifying marks or scars. Will works as a writer and performer for the band Car Seat Headrest and should not be arrested under any circumstances.
Thank you, Will. And
so there you have it.
And so, again, of course, before the album was coming out, like a week before the album was supposed to come out, they had to recall a bunch of physical copies of the album because there's, on the song, I think we talked about it briefly, Just What I Needed.
Just What I Needed, not Just What I Needed.
Originally, like, the last minute of the song was a cover of the Cars song, Just What I Needed. And it was awesome because, you know what? I actually got my CD like 11 days before the album was supposed to come out, like on the 9th this month. And so I've been bumping it in my car the past couple of days, and the past couple of weeks, and it's fucking great. But anyways, I actually have that version on CD, and it's great. And then, of course, we'll have to change it very last minute, and I think the breakdown, I feel like it could have done better, but at the same time, though, it's like, I mean...
Well, the thing is, I like the idea, because what he does is he samples his song, Something Soon, from Teens of Style. Mm-hmm. And also kind of like because he did need Something Soon because he had to do it last minute. Oh, anyways,
I don't think so.
But I don't know. The thing is, like, I like it in theory, but just it sounds like he did it in like one afternoon. I feel like that.
It sounds like he rushed out, and apparently also on the album he accidentally sent like the vinyl version as the digital version. So there's also another changes on Unforgiving Girl, which, by the way, one of the best songs on the album. There's originally, like, at the end, there was, like, banter from the band, and, like, also in the beginning. But it got cut on the vinyl version, and he accidentally sent, like, that version to Matador as for the digital version, too. And so on Twitter, he wasn't really happy about it on Twitter. Like, oh, damn it, I accidentally sent them the wrong version. As the banter is great, where it's like... Well, okay, that's.
Well, I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, like, ultimately,
it's not a terrible cut because the song is still great. It doesn't like add too much, but it was like a nice little touch. Like, it's a nice little like meta part of the album where it's like, oh, you're listening to an album.
Another one of my favorite like quirky things is fucking, on that song where he goes like, "All right, now listen, girl." And there's a very clearly like deep male voice that just goes, "Yeah." Like, that's hysterical.
I see it. I don't think I quite heard that, but
I might have heard it, but I just didn't notice it until.
Holy shit! Like, I love it when he gets into like the part where he's like, I need to make something clear. I need to. We both know it, which is like a really genuinely like. It like starts off on a really funny beat and then gets into like what I think is a very like genuinely sweet moment, and like that's one of my favorite moments in the entire album.
Mm-hmm. And of course,
I'm gonna go find the exact time code. Hold on.
All right.
It's only in the initial version.
It also kind of reminds me again. The song is very it's the kind of the love song of the album a little bit, where it's like you have to have the one song that's kind of about a girl. And it's really nice.
That's something that kind of plays in your mind. It's unforgiving girl, but she's not in. But I didn't really think about that until the day. It's oh, so she is a forgiving girl.
Yeah.
It took me a minute to actually think about what that meant. It's double negative.
It's a nice and actually surprisingly kind of romantic song. Which you wouldn't think that would be on this album a little bit, or at least from Will, super romantic, but it actually is really romantic.
At least not about a girl. Hey.
Or maybe,
it's 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the leaked in quotation marks version.
The original version of the album.
The OG.
But yeah, I think there's a couple songs. Again, the thing is, we were talking about the sequencing. It's kind of hard to talk about. You have to talk about the songs of the album more than the album because,
it's not. It's that also one thing I want to say though is that Kings of Style, with the way that it was marketed as a compilation, I expected more from Teens of Style in terms of cohesion.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was a compilation, so I'm oh, now we're getting an album.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we got that.
I feel the next album will definitely be a bit more album-like than this one. Because
that's the only flaw. Because like I said, he proved himself as the great North American songwriter right now.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing this completely irrelevant, but kind of relevant. I think it's kind of symbolic that Bob Dylan released an album yesterday. Also,
it's a proverbial passing of the torch.
Wait, it came out today? Yesterday? Really?
Yeah.
Dude,
so
I flew under my radar. I knew it was coming out, but I didn't know when it was coming out.
That's the whole point. Is that
it's Frank Sinatra's cover album, right?
It's the part 2.
I'm gonna listen to it because guess what? Shadows of the Night.
Dylan.
Shadows in the Night was really fucking good, you guys. And Bob Dylan's voice sounds like shit, but on these songs where they're very, very emotionally drained ballads, that sound his grainy voice sounds absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Shadows in the Night, underrated as fuck. Definitely listen to that album.
But anyways, the point is though that the greatest North American songwriter, Bob Dylan, released his album the same day as I think the preeminent new greatest songwriter right now,
sneaky
Will Toledo.
You sneaky motherfucker! You planned this, didn't you?
I did.
You knew you've been sitting on this the whole time.
I actually have been. I was thinking about it in the chat, writing down in the chat. I'm no, I'm going to save this for the podcast. That's a good tidbit.
You dirty fuck.
Oh God.
So yeah.
Let's see. There's a couple songs we haven't really talked about.
Goat to goat.
Cosmic Hero we haven't really talked about yet.
There's so much to talk about that Coast Concordia that we shouldn't.
Yeah, I think this
album makes sense. It's we could talk about it for 30 minutes, but why do that?
Oh yeah, but Cosmic Hero very quickly. The
Cosmic Hero, that's a great. I like that one better than Concord. Honestly, Coast Concordia is probably if I had to rank with this album, that's probably one of my top 3 least favorites.
I would say top 4 or 5, yeah, but 3 maybe not. And then the part of Cosmic Hero is I will go to heaven, when Will Toledo goes in on those vocals, where he really goes he ramps it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite parts of the album, where he really ramps that shit up. He knows exactly very naturally and knows when to ramp things up emotionally and when to really use his voice to his greatest. It's okay, here's a part where we're gonna go up here, instead of going at a normal 80% or a normal 60%, no, we're going 100 and we're gonna go beyond 100 too, and that's great.
Right.
I love Will because of that.
He does that. Also, actually, one thing I want to talk about is that times that he's set himself up as kind of the preeminent indie star. He's the real deal now. So the thing is, what's so great about him is that he combines indie rock classics like Pavement and Guided by Voices, Modest Mouse, etc. But also you hear a lot of classic rock. You're obviously we talked about the Cars, but also I hear the Who. Am I the only one who hears a lot of Who in here?
Actually, there is, because he did a Sounds of Denial playlist. He made a playlist on Spotify. The songs that are responsible in some way for the creation of my new album, and the Who is the first song on there.
And things in the Mellotron on here. I think that's the instrument I saw listed. On especially on 1937 State Park and Connect the Dots, you have those solos, and I hear the Who there, that End the Doors. Like, I hear those two bands very vividly in this. And also, he cited his biggest influence while writing and recording this album to be Nirvana and Green Day, which are both classic bands, but most indie heads don't really talk about them. Like, they kind of hide them under the rug. Like, they're not cool, per se.
Because they listen to them when they're young, and it's like, oh, they're not.
Well, it's like, well, I don't listen to them anymore, so they're
not indie
de facto
anymore.
uncool.
Again, too many people have heard about them, so like, yeah.
But the whole point is that Will Toledo he takes these artists that we've never heard of, and like people like Guided Voices, who's basically the OG lo-fi songwriter recorder.
True that.
Well, got Daniel Johnston and Guided by Voices. Those are the two big ones. But yeah.
Oh shit.
He also takes. He also loves Pink Floyd. He calls The Wall his favorite album of all time.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I think.
Hold up for a second. I'm going through Will Toledo's playlist right now, and he has of course, he has some Death Grips on his playlist. He has The Powers That Be on there and a Money Store song. And at the end of his playlist, he has Digits by Young Thug at the very end.
Jesus.
For his May 2016 playlist. It's great.
I love the William Onibar reference too.
The one on Only Bar? Wait, which one is that? What song is that on?
Doesn't he call himself? He calls himself William Onibar on. No, Not Just What I Needed.
No, yeah, on Not Just What I Needed, he's talking about like he's at a party and he's like he wants to leave, and he says like I feel so stupid trying to explain this. His name is William Onibar. He's from the 70s.
And also, speaking of that song, the beginning of it where it's like, I know when I'm being canceled. Like,
that's so good.
The way his vocals sound.
That's another moment that I talk about.
Where it sounds like
iconic. Like you just hear it, and it's like this is a classic moment.
Mm-hmm. Ray sounds like he's far away from the mic and he's just yelling his heart out, and it's like, I love when artists do that. It sounds so fucking incredible. But of course, I don't want it all the time. though. You got to use it sparingly. That's why I like it so much.
Right.
Because he knows exactly when to bring it in and when to not do it. And that's one of his strongest suits on this album is that Will Toledo knows he's a very good vocalist.
He's a student of rock.
Doesn't traditionally sound good.
I think he's a good performer.
Yeah, that's a little bit better. Yeah, performer is definitely a much better word for that. But yeah, I don't think there's much else we can say. Again, the guitars sound great.
He ultimately it's not a perfect album just because just the intangibles of how it's constructed.
If you don't listen to this album, you're an idiot. Is pretty much like one of
You're pretty much. But yeah, this is the best songwriting you'll hear this year, and I especially after this crazy ass month, it's hard to call an album my album of the year. But it's definitely going to be my top 5, I think.
Hey, of course, Will's album of the year is still The Life of Pablo.
Because Will's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, a fucking idiot.
That's the one. Okay, that's the one I feel most comfortable calling. But you know who else's album of the year is Life of Pablo? You know who else?
Oh God.
Will Toledo.
Will Toledo.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, but yeah.
So don't call me an idiot.
All right, that's true. Okay, all right.
No, this is my favorite album of the year.
I can't say that. I think my album of the year is still, of course, Color Anything. I mean, come on. I already said
your boy podcast. James Blake.
My boy James Blake. He hit me with an emotional snowstorm. Hit me with an emotional blizzard, and I'm still feeling cold right now. All right.
Comes with the distinction that it's my album of the year tied with the masterpiece that is Psychopomp.
Oh God, I actually need to listen to that again. I listened to it once because of you guys. I actually need to listen to it again because I remember Stefan in the chat was like, I listened to it a second time, wow, I like this a lot better than the first time. So I will maybe check it out after this podcast. But let's see, head ratings. Let's see, my head rating for this album would be me freaking out in my car to Vincent when the drum fills and all the yelling and everything comes through, and it's like I'm in my car, I'm shaking literally at the red light. So that's my rating. Sounds great.
My head rating is a Car Seat Headrest.
Jesus.
Okay, you really had to make that joke. Really? Okay, really. We went an entire episode without making some corny ass, fucking pun ass bullshit.
I told my parents about them, and every time I talk about them, like they're at the worst band name I've ever heard. I'm like, have you heard of The World is a Beautiful Place? And I'm no longer afraid to die. I'm like,
no, actually, no.
My mom's like, I think that's a pretty sentiment.
Okay,
it's too long.
For if you know the meaning, the context of Car Seat Headrest, why he's named that. It's fucking great, and it's an awesome name.
Yeah,
but
AJ, because he was recording his early stuff in his car.
Yeah, AJ, rating.
My rating is a head that's as high as possible, because that's how I feel about this album. Not like high like on drugs, but just like high like proud.
Well, that'd be appropriate for the album.
Super enjoy it.
Well,
yeah,
I feel doesn't like drugs though. He doesn't like drugs though. He had again. I think I read his Playboy. I think he had like an interview with like Playboy where he talked about the Drugs with Friends song, and like the song is essentially it's about his only time he's ever done like psychedelic drugs. Because they've been hyped up so much as him as a kid, because they listened to a bunch of like psychedelic music, and it's like he actually did it, and it's like, oh, this makes me just feel like terrible, and I don't like this.
Well, I mean, that's the very opening lines of the song, is that I transcend. I feel like a walking piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, that's our episode.
I mean, yeah. AOTY.
That's
album of the year.
You guys can say.
I think that like even if this isn't people's personal, I think it's a good consensus album of the year.
Yeah, I would. It's definitely my top. I think it's actually my second favorite album of the year.
Like even if it's not your personal album of the year, like I just don't see anyone on Indieheads like.
It's
like maybe some people, but
rock album.
I just don't. Everyone's gonna have this in their top 10.
Yeah. So
I mean, like it's gonna make everyone's top 10.
And it'll probably be like I'm gonna make the prediction right now. It'll probably be like our number 3 or number 2 album of the year at the end, like for the Indieheads Podcast Awards.
Oh, it'll be our number 1. It'll be our number 1.
It'll be top 5.
It'll be top 5 definitely. I feel like 2 or 3 is a
the
good.
thing is, we have to consider is that there's like we have like all our hyped releases in June. We have an entire half year left, like that we haven't heard like any announcements for.
That's true. So yeah, that's all I gotta say, and I think it's a good. I think we're about done here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to check out all the stuff in our description. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us. Well, the thing is, again, right now we're posting this on my personal channel, which will hopefully be
Follow us for a download
Symbol.
code.
Indieheads again right now. I think let me go check right now where we're at, because I think we're actually either we're at 1200 or like we're really really close to 1200. Because the last time I checked, we were at like 1190. So I'm going to go to our symbol right now. Which, by the way, guys, Android beta. So if you have an Android, you can go download the beta for it.
And also, your pictures look like shit. You take terrible selfies.
What, me?
No, if you have an Android.
Oh yeah, it's like yeah. Android. Again, if you Android and you Snapchat, you trash. Right now we have 11. Okay, we have 1100. No, shit. Let me actually go back because I don't know how to fucking say numbers sometimes. Okay, we have 1,171 followers. So if we hit 1250, we'll be giving away some album, probably Teens of Denial. So yeah, go follow us on there. And
download code, not a physical.
Yeah, download code. Obviously, again, we can't afford that shipping shit.
If you want a physical reward, give me your address. I'll come punch you in the face.
Yep.
You can have these nuts.
All right, so we're gonna end this podcast. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it, and we'll be back next week to talk about the new Chance the Rapper project, Coloring Book. Rude. Bye, guys.